What if your dream vacation turned into a travel nightmare? Crowds everywhere, long lines, noise, and the magic of the place completely lost. In 2025, overtourism is more than just a buzzword, it's a growing global crisis. From iconic cities to tropical islands, many of the world's most beloved destinations are buckling under the weight of overcrowded streets, endless tourist crowds, and overwhelmed local communities. The sad truth: some places are no longer enjoyable, not for travelers, and definitely not for locals. Whether you're planning a relaxing getaway or an Instagram-worthy trip, choosing the wrong spot can mean spending your vacation stuck in chaos rather than soaking in beauty. In this video, we reveal 20 places you should avoid visiting this summer due to extreme overtourism, and we'll tell you why. These aren't just popular tourist spots, they are now overrun, overbooked, and overstressed. But don't worry, we'll also guide you towards smarter, calmer travel choices that respect both culture and nature. Let's explore where not to go, and why responsible travel matters more than ever. Number 20. Banff National Park. Banff's parking lots now fill by 6 a.m. during summer, forcing rangers to turn away thousands of visitors daily, yet disappointed tourists still idle in miles-long queues hoping for entry. Canada's crown jewel transforms from wilderness sanctuary to frustrating theme park, as summer brings 8 million visitors to facilities designed for a fraction of this volume. Lake Louise, that turquoise alpine masterpiece featured on countless postcards, becomes unrecognizable beneath hundreds of rental canoes jostling for position while thousands of visitors compete aggressively for shoreline selfie spots. Wildlife sightings diminish as animals retreat from human congestion that has overtaken their habitat. The breathtaking Icefields Parkway often resembles a parking lot rather than one of Earth's most scenic drives, as vehicles stopped haphazardly for photos create dangerous situations. Hiking trails to popular destinations, like Lake Agnes Tea House, become continuous processions rather than wilderness experiences, with trail erosion increasingly visible from overuse. Campsite reservations require booking the moment they become available, 5 months in advance, yet still sell out within minutes. Even basic accommodations in Banff town command $400 plus nightly, while restaurants develop hour-long waits for mediocre, overpriced meals. Experience this magnificent Rocky Mountain ecosystem instead during late September, when summer crowds vanish, aspen leaves turn golden, and the true wilderness spirit that makes Banff magical returns, along with better wildlife viewing opportunities. Number 19. Kyoto. Geisha apprentices in Kyoto's historic Gion district now use back entrances to avoid harassment from tourists who chase them down narrow streets for non-consensual photos, destroying centuries of cultural tradition. Japan's spiritual heartland transforms into an overcrowded theme park during summer months, when stifling humidity combines with tourist numbers that overwhelm the city's temple infrastructure. The magnificent Fushimi Inari Shrine, with thousands of vermilion Thori gates, becomes an exercise in frustration rather than spiritual reflection, as visitors queue for photos at every turn. Traditional machiya houses increasingly convert to overpriced tourist accommodations, pushing actual Kyoto residents from their historic neighborhoods. The bamboo grove at Arashiyama loses all tranquility, as the constant chatter of tour groups destroys the meditative atmosphere these sacred spaces were designed to create. Even wearing a rented kimono, once a respectful cultural appreciation, has devolved into costume play as visitors block streets for impromptu photo shoots. Restaurant prices near temples double while quality diminishes, with many establishments abandoning traditional kaiseki cuisine for quick-service tourist meals. The authentic tea ceremony experience becomes nearly impossible to find amid commercialized versions lasting mere minutes. Visit Kyoto instead during late November, when crimson maple leaves frame ancient temples, tourist numbers dwindle, and glimpses of the contemplative Japanese aesthetic that made this city a UNESCO treasure become possible once again. Number 18. Phuket. Thailand's Department of Marine Resources closed Maya Bay indefinitely after 80% of Phuket's surrounding coral reefs died from overtourism, yet visitors still arrive by thousands daily expecting the pristine paradise seen in the beach. This Thai island transforms into a congested tourist factory during summer months, when Western visitors combine with Chinese tour groups, creating human density that makes authentic experiences impossible. Putong Beach resembles a chaotic fairground rather than tropical escape, with every inch of sand occupied, while jet skis and parasail boats create constant noise and safety hazards. Once charming local markets increasingly sell mass-produced trinkets, while traditional Thai food gets modified beyond recognition to suit foreign palates. Ethical concerns abound as elephant camps and tiger sanctuaries exploit animals for tourist photos despite widespread documentation of abuse. Phuket's magnificent Buddhist temples become quick photo stops for tour groups rather than places of spiritual significance. Accommodation prices double while quality standards drop, with many hotels cutting corners on maintenance and cleanliness. Even underwater experiences disappoint as dive sites grow overcrowded, with coral trampled by inexperienced swimmers. Transportation around the island becomes nightmarish as narrow roads clog with tour buses and rental scooters. Experience Phuket, instead, during September, when monsoon rains discourage casual tourists, prices normalize, and glimpses of the authentic Thai paradise that made this destination legendary occasionally re-emerge. Number 17, Miami. Miami Beach implemented emergency curfews after summer 2023 spring break crowds turned violent, yet next summer promises even larger tourist numbers in this already overwhelmed city. South Florida's playground becomes a chaotic nightmare during summer months, when humidity reaches suffocating levels, while tourists pack onto beaches with barely inches between towels. Ocean Drive transforms from Art Deco marvel to sensory assault, with competing club music creating unbearable noise pollution as intoxicated visitors block sidewalks and traffic. Restaurant service deteriorates dramatically, while prices inflate to exploit seasonal visitors, with mediocre meals commanding Manhattan prices plus mandatory 20% service charges, regardless of quality. The famed Windward Walls Art District becomes impossible to appreciate amid self-takers who view murals only through phone screens. Hotel prices reach predatory levels, basic rooms commanding $400 plus nightly, while simultaneously cutting services and adding hidden resort fees. Traffic gridlock turns simple journeys into hours-long ordeals, with rideshare prices implementing extreme surge pricing. Even Miami's renowned cultural institutions, like art museum, require strategic planning to visit without enormous crowds. Water quality at beaches frequently fails safety standards during summer due to infrastructure inadequate for visitor volume. Experience Miami instead during November when hurricane season ends, temperatures moderate, local culture re-emerges, and this vibrant multicultural city can be enjoyed without the crushing masses. Number 16, Thailand. Thailand's UNESCO-protected medieval core, roughly the size of 15 football fields, absorbs over 2 million summer tourists annually, creating human density rivaling Tokyo subways at rush hour. Estonia's fairytale capital transforms into a claustrophobic theme park, when multiple cruise ships dock simultaneously, disgorging up to 9,000 passengers, who overwhelm the cobblestone streets of Old Town. The iconic viewpoint at Kotuotsa platform becomes an aggressive selfie battleground rather than a place for quiet contemplation of red-tiled rooftops. Medieval-themed restaurants serve rushed, overpriced meals to captive audiences, while authentic Estonian cuisine becomes nearly impossible to find. Summer accommodations within the historic walls command outrageous premiums, forcing budget travelers far from the attractions they came to see. The enchanting town hall square loses its charm when street performers compete with tour guides using amplification to be heard above the constant din. Even the peaceful Alexander Nevsky Cathedral becomes an exercise in patience as visitors queue to enter while dodging aggressive souvenir hawkers outside. The authentic Baltic atmosphere that makes Tallinn special disappears entirely under this seasonal tourist assault. Visit instead during late September, when amber light bathes the medieval towers and locals reclaim their extraordinary heritage city. Number 15. Rome. The Trevi Fountain endures 10,000 visitors every hour during Roman summers, creating crowd density that would violate safety codes in most buildings. The Eternal City becomes an eternal wait as temperatures soar to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while tourists stand in multi-hour queues for the Vatican museums, only to be herded through the Sistine Chapel without time to truly appreciate Michelangelo's masterpiece. Ancient wonders like the Colosseum become backdrop selfie props rather than contemplative historical experiences. Authentic Roman trattorias near major attractions transform into tourist traps serving frozen pasta at inflated prices to one-time visitors. Hotel rates near historic sites double or triple, forcing budget travelers into distant neighborhoods requiring lengthy, overcrowded metro rides. The Spanish Steps disappear completely beneath hundreds of seated visitors, despite rules prohibiting such behavior. Even spiritual pilgrimages become commercialized as vendors aggressively hawk religious souvenirs outside St. Peter's Basilica. The romantic atmosphere portrayed in films vanishes as popular piazzas fill beyond capacity, with exhausted tourists seeking any available shade. Experience Rome instead during November when locals reclaim their city, lines disappear, accommodations become reasonable, and you can actually hear the splash of coins in the Trevi Fountain without someone elbowing for position. Number 14, Barcelona. Shocking revelation. Barcelona residents staged mass protests against tourism, hanging banners reading, "Tourists go home," after summer visitors skyrocketed to 32 million annually, in a city of just 1.6 million. The artistic jewel of Catalonia transforms into an overcrowded nightmare, where Gaudi's masterpiece La Sagrada Familia requires booking tickets days in advance, only to experience it amid thousands of others. Las Ramblas, once a charming promenade, becomes an anxiety-inducing tourist trap where pickpockets target distracted visitors, and overpriced restaurants serve mediocre paella to unsuspecting travelers. The magnificent Park Güell now requires timed entry tickets that sell out by morning, with the free sections so crowded that enjoying the mosaic wonders becomes impossible. Barcelona's famed beaches resemble human parking lots rather than Mediterranean escapes, with every inch of sand occupied by sunburned visitors. Traditional tapas bars increasingly close, replaced by international chains catering to mass tourism. Accommodations in central neighborhoods have largely converted to short-term rentals, driving locals from their homes and destroying authentic community life. Even the Gothic Quarter loses its mysterious medieval charm when flooded with tour groups following guides with microphones. Visit Barcelona instead during winter months, when local culture re-emerges and Gaudi's architectural magic can be appreciated without the crushing masses. Number 13, Paris. Summer visitors to the Louvre never actually see the Mona Lisa. They see the backs of 300 smartphones held aloft by a crushing crowd, catching only glimpses of history's most famous portrait. Paris, the city of romance, transforms into a city of frustration as temperatures soar in buildings without air conditioning while tourists wait in multi-hour queues for every major attraction. The Eiffel Tower's summit requires half-a-day commitment as lines stretch across Champ de Mars, yet offers views increasingly obscured by summer haze. Authentic bistros serving classic French cuisine become impossible to find near tourist zones, replaced by overpriced cafes serving microwaved meals to one-time visitors. The charming streets of Montmartre fill with aggressive scam artists targeting overwhelmed tourists. River Seine dinner cruises pack visitors like sardines, destroying any romantic atmosphere while charging champagne prices for budget wine. Even Luxembourg Gardens become standing room only as every patch of grass fills with exhausted sightseers seeking respite. Hotel prices reach absurd levels while quality plummets, with tiny rooms commanding €300 plus nightly. The authentic Parisian experience, enjoying unhurried conversation at sidewalk cafes becomes impossible amid constant tourist traffic. Experience Paris instead, during November when golden autumn light bathes the boulevards, museums empty, and the sophisticated cultural soul that made this city legendary re-emerges. Number 12. Prague. Prague Castle welcomes 50,000 visitors daily in summer, more people than lived in the entire medieval city. The city of 100 spires transforms into a frustrating theme park, where the iconic Charles Bridge becomes impassable by mid-morning, packed shoulder to shoulder with tourists following umbrella-wielding guides. Historic Old Town Square loses its magical atmosphere as visitors jostle aggressively for photos of the astronomical clock, only to express disappointment at the brief hourly show they fought to witness. Traditional Czech taverns increasingly vanish, replaced by overpriced restaurants serving mediocre goulash to one-time visitors who'll never return. Summer accommodation prices triple while quality plummets, with basic hotels charging premium rates for rooms without air conditioning during increasingly hot European summers. The magnificent St. Vitus Cathedral becomes impossible to appreciate amid the constant flow of distracted tourists rushing through on whirlwind tours. Even peaceful moments along the Vltava River prove elusive as party boats blast music that drowns out the city's natural rhythms. Prague's authentic bohemian spirit retreats behind closed doors, inaccessible to summer visitors. Experience this architectural wonderland instead during October, when morning mist shrouds the spires and locals reclaim their beloved cafes and beer gardens. Number 11. Bali. Bali's sacred temples now require tourist behavior guides, after visitors repeatedly desecrated holy sites for Instagram photos, including sitting atop prayer altars in bikinis. This Indonesian spiritual haven drowns under 6 million annual tourists, with summer bringing the highest concentration to an island smaller than Delaware. Ubud's famous monkey forest becomes an anxiety-inducing gauntlet rather than a nature experience, with aggressive primates trained to expect food from overwhelming visitor numbers. Once pristine beaches disappear beneath wall-to-wall sunbeds, while plastic waste washes ashore from inadequate infrastructure strained beyond capacity. Trafficked elephants suffer in exploitative sanctuaries, created solely for tourist selfies. Traditional dance performances transform into rushed, assembly-line productions rather than authentic cultural expressions. The iconic rice terraces of Tagalalang now charge multiple entrance fees at different points, while locals struggle to maintain actual farming amid constant tourist disruption. Balinese religious ceremonies become impossible to conduct properly as visitors treat sacred processions like entertainment shows. Even Bali's famous yoga retreats lose their tranquility as classes pack practitioners mat to mat. Experience this island of the gods instead during February or October when seasonal rains discourage casual tourists, spiritual sites regain their reverence, and the genuine Balinese kindness that made this island famous has space to re-emerge. Number 10. Bruges. Nearly 8 million tourists crush into Bruges annually, a medieval jewel built for just 20,000 residents. This UNESCO heritage site suffocates under summer crowds funneling through its narrow arteries, transforming this architectural masterpiece into an outdoor museum where movement becomes negotiation. The compact city center creates a concentrated crush around Market Square and the Belfry Tower, where queues snake endlessly under the Belgian sun. Canal boat tours operate like conveyor belts, with guides reciting rehearsed monologues to distracted passengers focused more on selfies than stories. Chocolate shops and waffle stands erect tourist-targeted pricing structures, while authentic Belgian cuisine becomes scarce amid chain restaurants. Accommodation costs double or triple, with limited availability forcing visitors into overpriced options. The famous Michelangelo Madonna resides in Church of Our Lady, where summer visitors glimpse it only momentarily before being ushered forward. Local residents increasingly retreat from their own city center, creating an artificial atmosphere devoid of genuine Flemish culture. Experience Bruges instead during early spring or late autumn, when this fairytale city reclaims its soul. Number 9. Amalfi Coast. Shocking truth. The Amalfi Coast's narrow roadway, barely wide enough for 2 vehicles, now handles 400-plus tour buses daily in summer, creating gridlock so severe that some visitors spend their entire vacation trapped in traffic. Italy's most photogenic coastline transforms into a frustrating mirage where Instagram expectations collide with overcrowded reality. Positano's iconic beach disappears beneath hundreds of rental umbrellas packed so tightly that the Mediterranean becomes barely visible between bodies. Water taxis command €100 plus for brief trips, while public ferries operate with dangerous overcrowding during peak months. Restaurants with sea views require reservations weeks ahead, yet still rush diners through meals at inflated prices to maximize table turnover. The legendary Path of the Gods hiking trail loses its tranquility as endless streams of trekkers create human traffic jams on narrow passages. Even simple pleasures, like enjoying a limoncello on a terrace, require waiting lists during summer evenings. Accommodation reaches absurd levels, basic rooms commanding €500 plus nightly, while still selling out months in advance. The authentic Italian lifestyle that made this coastline magical retreats behind closed doors, inaccessible to summer visitors. Public parking becomes so scarce that hotels charge €40 daily just to leave your vehicle. Experience the Amalfi Coast instead, during late September, when Mediterranean waters remain warm, summer crowds disappear, and the breathtaking beauty of this vertical paradise can be appreciated without the suffocating tourist crush. Number 8. Machu Picchu. Archaeologists documented irreversible damage to Machu Picchu's ancient stones from excessive foot traffic, yet summer visitors still reach 6,000 daily despite UNESCO recommending a maximum of 800. This Incan marvel transforms from spiritual journey to frustrating theme park experience, as summer tourists face pre-dawn queues for buses that snake up the mountain in continuous convoy. The iconic postcard view of the citadel becomes nearly impossible to capture without dozens of strangers in frame, while selfie-takers block pathways, causing dangerous bottlenecks on steep staircases without guardrails. Altitude sickness affects unprepared visitors who rush their acclimatization, yet medical facilities remain limited. Train tickets to Aguas Calientes, the gateway town, sell out months in advance, commanding premium prices for basic service. Accommodation options in this tiny settlement reach extortionate levels while offering minimal comfort. The sacred energy that makes Machu Picchu spiritually significant gets drowned beneath constant chatter and camera clicks from tour groups racing through on tight schedules. Even hiking the Inca Trail becomes a commercialized experience, with hundreds traversing simultaneously, straining primitive bathroom facilities, and creating unsanitary conditions at campsites. Peru's crown jewel deserves better than summer's human crush. Visit instead during April or November when morning mist shrouds the ancient stones. Visitor numbers drop dramatically, and the mystical connection to Incan civilization becomes possible once again. Number 7. Roads. Imagine paying premium prices to stand shoulder to shoulder with 30,000 other tourists in 95 degrees Fahrenheit heat, just to glimpse roads, ancient wonders for fleeting seconds. This Greek island paradise transforms into tourist purgatory each summer, when cruise ships disgorge waves of visitors into the medieval old town's narrow arteries. Beach paradises like Anthony Quinn Bay become battlegrounds for towel space by 8 a.m., with visitors packed like sardines on scorching sand. The legendary Acropolis of Lindos requires an uphill hike that becomes a health hazard during summer middays, yet thousands attempt it daily without adequate water. Restaurant service deteriorates as overwhelmed staff rush through meals, while prices inflate to exploit captive audiences. Ferry arrivals create tsunami-like waves of day-trippers flooding narrow streets, making simple navigation an anxiety-inducing challenge. Archaeological sites lose their mystical aura amid constant camera flashes and chattering tour groups. Water pressure throughout the island weakens dramatically, while rental car availability vanishes unless booked months in advance. Experience roads instead during May or September, when the island's authentic Greek character resurfaces, and the Knights of St. John's magnificent legacy can be appreciated without the crushing masses. Number 6. Rakevik. The average summer tourist in Rakevik spends a staggering $380 per day, triple what locals consider reasonable, yet endures an experience diminished by overwhelming crowds. Iceland's capital, once a serene outpost at the edge of the Arctic, now groans under tourism that has grown 500% in just a decade. Summer visitors find themselves trapped in an ironic reality, traveling to one of Earth's most pristine wilderness areas only to experience it through a forest of selfie sticks. The Golden Circle tour resembles a carnival parade of buses rather than a communion with nature. Restaurants serving traditional Icelandic cuisine require reservations weeks in advance, while tour operators book solid months before summer arrives. The transcendent Blue Lagoon becomes anything but peaceful as hundreds of Instagram-focused visitors crowd its milky waters simultaneously. Hotel rates skyrocket to exploitative levels while availability plummets. Even simple pleasures, like viewing the Hullskrimskirkja church, require strategic timing to avoid photobombers. The midnight sun may shine continuously, but your chances of experiencing authentic Icelandic culture diminish with each tour group that arrives. Visit during shoulder seasons instead, when the northern lights dance across winter skies, and local life returns to this fascinating Nordic capital. Number 5. Amsterdam. A shocking 20 million tourists invade Amsterdam annually, a city of just 870,000 residents, with summer bringing the most suffocating waves of visitors. The picturesque canal rings transform into human obstacle courses where bewildered locals navigate between self-takers, beer bikes, and disoriented cannabis tourists. Museum lines stretch to grotesque lengths, with Vunkav enthusiasts waiting up to 4 hours in summer heat just to glimpse sunflowers for mere minutes. Authentic brown cafes and local eateries increasingly disappear, replaced by overpriced tourist traps serving mediocre versions of Dutch cuisine. The infamous red light district evolves into a circus-like atmosphere, where gawking tour groups destroy any remaining authenticity. Accommodations reach absurd price points while quality plummets, with basic hotel rooms commanding €300 plus nightly. Bicycle rental companies exhaust their inventory daily, leaving late arrivals without this quintessential Dutch experience. Even peaceful moments in Vondel Park become impossible as every patch of grass fills with visitors. The charming houseboats and historic architecture along Prinsengracht lose their magic when viewed through a barrier of tour boats clogging the waterways. Experience Amsterdam, instead, during autumn when golden leaves float on quiet canals and the city's artistic soul re-emerges. Number 4. Santorini. Santorini receives 5,000-plus cruise ship passengers daily during summer, all funneling through narrow cliff-top pathways barely 6 feet wide, creating dangerous human gridlock above a 1,000-foot drop. The postcard-perfect Greek island transforms into an Instagram battlefield where influencers, block public walkways for hours attempting perfect sunset shots in Ia, while security guards manage increasingly hostile crowds. Hotel prices reach astronomical levels. Basic rooms command €500 plus nightly, yet still sell out months in advance. The black sand beaches become unrecognizable beneath wall-to-wall sunbeds renting for extortionate prices. Restaurants serving mediocre moussaka at triple mainland costs require reservations days ahead, with rushed service to maximize turnover. The breathtaking caldera views that made Santorini famous become nearly impossible to enjoy without dozens of strangers photobombing your experience. Even simple tasks, like finding transportation, become challenging as limited taxis and buses strain under visitor volume, creating hour-long waits in blistering heat. Archaeological sites, like ancient Thera, lose their historical atmosphere amid constant tour groups. Water shortages occur regularly as the island's infrastructure buckles under tourism far exceeding its carrying capacity. Visit instead during April or October when Santorini's mystical beauty returns. Whitewashed architecture gleams against blue skies, and the magnificent volcanic landscape can be appreciated without the suffocating crowds. Number 3. Lisbon. Lisbon's historic tram 28, once public transportation for locals, now operates solely as a tourist attraction with 3-hour queues in summer heat, leaving elderly Portuguese residents stranded. Portugal's sun-drenched capital has become Europe's most rapidly gentrifying city, where entire neighborhoods transform into Airbnb wastelands devoid of actual Portuguese life. The magnificent viewpoints at São Jorge Castle and the Santa Justa elevator become so packed that enjoying panoramic vistas requires aggressive maneuvering rather than peaceful contemplation. Traditional tascas serving authentic Portuguese cuisine increasingly close, replaced by overpriced fusion restaurants catering exclusively to foreign palates. The once charming Ulfamar district now endures constant noise pollution as thousands of rolling suitcases clatter over centuries-old cobblestones day and night. Pushta's the Nathar bakeries develop Disney-like queues, with the famous Belém location requiring over an hour wait for a single custard tart. Even simple pleasures, like enjoying a sunset fado performance, require booking weeks in advance during summer months. Accommodation prices have doubled in 5 years, while pushing working-class residents to distant suburbs. Experience Lisbon instead during February or November when gentle winter light bathes the azulejo tiles. Restaurants welcome you without reservations, and you might actually hear Portuguese spoken on the streets. Number 2. Venice. Venice sinks, not only from rising waters, but from the crushing weight of summer tourism. The floating city transforms into a human gridlock, where narrow culli become impassable bottlenecks, leading to St. Mark's Square, itself an open-air sardine tin. Temperatures soar while canal odors intensify, creating a stifling atmosphere that strips away the romantic mystique. Gondola rides, once intimate experiences, devolve into assembly line operations with inflated €80 plus price tags and abbreviated routes. Authentic Cicchetti bars vanish behind tourist-trap restaurants, serving mediocre pasta at premium prices. Locals have largely abandoned their ancestral home, leaving Venice feeling like a hollow theme park rather than a living city. Water taxis and vaporetti overflow with frustrated passengers, making simple transportation an anxiety-inducing ordeal. Even finding a spot to photograph the Bridge of Sighs becomes competitive sport. The city's fragile ecosystem struggles under this seasonal assault, while infrastructure strains beyond capacity. Experience Venice's ethereal beauty instead, during winter months, when morning mist shrouds empty campos, and the haunting magic that inspired centuries of artists returns. Number 1. Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik transforms into a claustrophobic maze during summer months, when cruise ships disgorge thousands of passengers daily onto the ancient limestone streets. The Pearl of the Adriatic drowns under human traffic, as visitors struggle to photograph the iconic city walls without capturing dozens of strangers in their frames. Local residents increasingly flee their homes during peak season, creating a hollow cultural experience where authentic connections with Croatians become nearly impossible. The medieval old town, made famous by Game of Thrones, now sees visitors waiting hours in blistering heat just to walk the ramparts or ride the cable car for panoramic views. Restaurants inflate prices while rushing service to accommodate crowds. The crystalline Adriatic waters surrounding Bunja Beach become dotted with too many bobbing heads to enjoy properly. Even simple pleasures, like enjoying an ice cream at sunset, require strategic planning and patience. Visit in April, May, October or November instead, when Dubrovnik breathes again, prices normalize, and the magic that inspired George Bernard Shaw to call it paradise on earth actually exists. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok and Threads. Don't forget to subscribe to The Scenic Hunter for another exciting adventurous journey. Until then, it's goodbye from us.